So, a while ago on Twitter, Peacock released a trailer for their new original show called Noughts and Crosses, and people on Twitter were not having it. Who wants to watch that? I felt like it was so ridiculous, and the reactions that I saw from people on Twitter were just horrible. So I thought, you know what? Maybe I should talk about it and see if it actually is the travesty the trailer makes it out to be. The answer is yes. It is not a good show. I wrote in my notes that I should talk about the good parts of the show and the bad parts of the show. And honestly, I really can't think of any good parts. There are some scenes that I enjoyed, like specifically the last episode. There's a scene between the two protagonists, Callum and Seffi, which was amazing. I loved it, but I feel like I'll start from the beginning of the show. The first episode, they open up with this scene of like Callum, the main character, the main white character in the show, his brother Jude is like doing donuts or something like that in his car, and a bunch of people are watching, and this is like amazing. This is great. This is like prime entertainment. So that happens, and their little shindig is broken up by the police. It is black police that show up. Of course it is, because this world is reverse racism. Oh my god. So there's a little tussle. A friend that was with Jude and Callum ends up getting hit in the head with a baton and knocked out. He's put in a coma, and this is a huge deal in the first episode because people are like, oh no, the police are brutalizing white people, but then the black people, which are all coincidentally wealthy and, like highly educated and all that, they're like, but I'm sure he attacked the policeman because, you can't trust them. And they're just so ridiculous. It's very weird. So that's basically like the treatment. All this treatment that I'm talking about, these fictional white people are receiving, actually happens to black people. Oh my god. So that's obviously why the reverse racism trope is just very disgusting to me. But we're moving. We're moving on through this. There is a romantic scene, or not a romantic scene, that makes it sound like they're having sex, between, it's more of like a love at first sight situation with Callum and Seffi, where Callum is working at Seffi's mom's birthday party. And he sees her, and it's kind of like, oh my god, like love at first sight. He's seeing her, she's seeing him, and without context, maybe that would be like a cute scene, but it's weird because in the show, regardless of their relationship in the book, which is 100 times better than this shit, they're looking at each other, and then the moment's gone, the music stops, all of that. Callum asks another worker who the girl that he was just looking at was. And this is weird because later on, when Callum is working and he breaks a glass because, he's angry, he's oppressed, all that, he's in the bathroom cleaning his wound, and then Seffi comes in because she saw him from like a distance, like break the cup. And she's like, oh, let me help you, da da da. And then this scene, she brings out a brown band-aid to further cement that these white people are not thought of and are prioritized. They are not the default in this world because not even the band-aids are made to camouflage into their skin, just like how black people do not have band-aids. Well, they do have band-aids now, but previously did not have band-aids that would camouflage into their skin tone. Wow, my god, this is groundbreaking. So they're talking, and Seffi's like, Callum? And Callum's like, Seffi? So these two know each other. In fact, they were childhood friends. And that just obviously went away apparently because how are you childhood friends with somebody and then you see them in a crowd, or not even in a crowd, you see them, you're staring at them, and nothing is clicking. Nothing is clicking because you literally don't know who that is. Like, you literally have to ask another person who it is that you're looking at, and then once she's closer, you it was just it was just kind of dumb to me because I'm thinking, how could you not recognize her then? So much so you have to ask somebody. But oh, now that she's there, now she's a little bit closer to you. Now you can recognize. Like, I'm not understanding that. I'm so glad that in the book, which is once again so much better than the show, they've been friends since childhood, yes, and they don't stop having contact. They continue to have contact because they want to stay in contact. Like, they want to be friends. They never explain why they stopped talking in the show. It makes less sense in the show because in the book, Callum's mom works for Seffi's mom, so that's how they knew each other as children. In the show, she's still working for them. In the book, she gets fired. Callum's mom gets fired. In the show, she stays working for them for like almost the whole show. So it's just confusion. What happened? What went on? I don't know. Anyway, that was ridiculous. But further into the show, now that they've rekindled, now that they're like, oh my god, I'm attracted to you, I recognize you now, they go to visit the friend who got hit with a baton by the police officer in the hospital, and then they leave, and then a group of white guys are like, oh my god, what are you doing with her? Talking to Callum, because, there's a protest going on because of what happened to the friend. And he's like, well, actually, I don't even remember what he said, but basically, there's a little situation. They like go and grab Callum and they grab Seffi, and then Seffi's like, get off of me, you blankers. Now, blankers in this world is the equivalent to the N word. So when she said it, stuff was happening. Everybody was like, oh my god, did she just call us blankers? Everyone was shocked. I was confused. Callum was understandably upset that she would say that. She didn't say it to him. She said it to the other guys that look just like him. And he wasn't trying to talk to her for a moment. But like 5 minutes later, we're gonna say 5 minutes later, I feel like she goes to his house, same night, obviously, and she's like, oh my god, I'm sorry that I said that. That was super messed up. I didn't think I was like that, but I am, which is very weird because, okay, so you admit that you're racist? I didn't think I was like those other racists, but I actually am. Sorry. Like, huh? But he ends up forgiving her, and like, they kiss or whatever, and it's supposed to be like a sweet moment, and I'm just confused and kind of, like, what just happened? Like, she just said a whole ass slur, and you just brushed it under the rug. Why? Because she's cute? Like, huh? I never understood that because that same thing happened in the book, but she says something worse. She compares blankers to animals. She says blankers are worse than animals, and he still ends up forgiving her, sort of. Like, and I'm just thinking, why? Because honestly, if my friend was to call me a slur, I don't think I'd forgive them. Because I feel like you've been sitting on that for a while. Like, you wanted to say that for a while because it just came so easily out of your mouth. You know what I mean? Get off me, Blanca! The last episode, just to add a little more detail, Callum and Seffi have sex in like episode 3 or 4, and they don't use protection because it's television, it's media, they're teenagers or whatever, and ooh, whoa, live wild, live free, this happen. But I feel like it's really not worth talking about because I do want to talk about like the show, not too much in depth, or we'll be here for a while because it was 6 hours that I spent watching this show. Because Callum has like been pushed to the edge, I guess, throughout the show and throughout the book. He joins this white rebellion group that you know, are fighting for the freedom of the white people or whatever. And they're like, you know what we should do? We should kidnap Seffi. Seffi is a kind of important character, other than the fact that she's one of the main protagonists. She is extremely wealthy and all that. She is the daughter of a politician. In the show, she is the daughter of the new prime minister. So this prime minister, her father, is not having any type of we're gonna give white people rights, we're gonna do this and that because they don't deserve it. And obviously white people aren't rocking with that, so they're like, you know what, we're gonna take his child and take his daughter and then blackmail him to step down from office and then give us £1 million. So that's what happened in the show because they gave Seffi's dad more emotions and much more affection towards his child compared to the book, because in the book he's absolutely evil. And so that happens. He steps down. He is ready to give them £1 million. He actually exchanges it, like hands it off and all that. But they still have her. They still have her as a hostage because she's vital. They actually, as a hostage, because she's seen everyone's face, they're gonna kill her. And she knows this. Seffi's big brain. She said to Callum, even though they're at odds at this point because he's chosen a different path to them being with her, she says, if they're gonna kill me, I know they're gonna kill me because I saw it from his face. When the time comes, I want you to kill me. And she says this in the show and in the book. But in the show, when he turns around to leave, because this is dark Callum, this is Callum that doesn't really care about her or tries to play it off like he doesn't care about her, she stabs him in the shoulder. And honestly, I felt that because he put her in the situation because of his connection to her. They used that and they said, if you still have her number, you can get in contact with her and basically trap her, essentially. So he does this. He set her up to get kidnapped and captured and now being held hostage in this cell, and even had the audacity. There's a scene that he has with Jude, his brother, outside of her cell, where he's saying, where Jude is basically implying that Callum still feels like Seffi's important, still has feelings for Seffi. And Callum is saying, no, I do not. Seffi means nothing to me. Seffi means absolutely nothing to me. And in my head, I was like, this kind of sounds like that scene in High School Musical where Troy is like, Gabriella means nothing to me. We're gonna go out there and win this championship. Everyone happy now? Because you know what? Troy was lying at that point, and Callum is lying too. And I feel like because I don't like the show at all, High School Musical scene has much more emotional weight, has much more emotional heft. You know what I'm saying? I would suggest watching High School Musical instead of this.
We just thought. No, I'll tell you what I thought. I thought that you're my friends. Win together, lose together, teammates.
But suddenly the girl and the singing.
Man, I'm for the team. I've always been for the team. She's just someone I met. All right, the singing thing is nothing. Probably just a way to keep my nerves down. I don't know, it means nothing to me. You're my guys, and this is our team. Gabriella is not important. I'll forget about her. I'll forget the audition, and we'll go out and get...
Scared of what?
What she is to you.
She's nothing. She's nothing.
Anyone is interested, I guess, in reading Reverse Racism, I maybe read the book. There's a whole series, which I don't think will follow into a show. I don't think they're going to have more than one season, just based off of how the season ended. And honestly, I love that for them, because I don't know anybody who would want to watch more of that. It wasn't good. So, let me know what you thought or didn't think, or what you did like, or what you didn't like, whatever you're feeling. That is all for me. Bye.